Now, to filter out places by ID, we need to find out which ID is encoded in the URL. And for that, we can use a tool React Router DOM offers to us. We import it from React Router DOM, and there we have a hook, the use params hook, which we can use in functional components. Like all hooks, they're only usable in functional components, but since I only work with functional components in this app, we can use them in every component. Now, use params is simply executed as a function, and it gives us access to the parameters, as it's called, so to the dynamic segments React Router is aware of. Dynamic segments are these things you encode with a colon in your route configuration. So in this case, we can get the user ID, and use params will return an object which has your dynamic segments you set up in the route config as properties. So for the user places component, there will be an object with a user ID property, which then in turn holds the concrete value that's entered in the URL as a value. So here I can access user ID and store that in, let's say, the user ID constant. This gives us access to the user ID that's encoded in the URL. And with that, we can get our places. We could call it loaded places here by using our dummy places. And then we can use the built-in filter method to run a filter on every element in dummy places and have a look at every element and only keep it in the newly returned array. Filter will return a new array if the creator of that place we're looking at is equal to user ID. And then we want to forward loaded places here to place list. As a consequence, if I reload, we now only see one place here. If I visit U3, I see no places because we have no place for a user U3. And for U2, I also see one place. So this works, and we are now filtering this successfully. Now, why don't we work on the map next? However, before we do so, let's make sure the buttons look a bit more pretty.